owners are now making more from the rising value of their homes each year than they are from their employment.
Time to smash your goals.
Get fit and get rich.
Yeah, it's about time.
Hey guys and girls, welcome to this week's episode of the No BS with Birchy podcast. I'm your host, Nathan Birch, and this is a show unraveling the truth to the facade of the 21st century. We're now exiting the matrix and waking up to motherfucking reality. And today, I have a special guest with us, Michael.
Nath, how are you, mate?
I'm awesome. Bit sweaty, bit hot.
That's all right.
Exercising outside. And
nothing wrong with that.
I had to do some exercising before I came to see you, just to, you know.
That's part of the game. If you're doing some exercise, you're going to get sweaty.
Exactly. Exactly. Right. Thanks a lot for coming on today on the podcast. And I'm excited to talk to you today about your journey and what you're up to. And
Yeah. No, I appreciate you having me on. And it's funny because I've watched you in your podcast, I reckon. Oh, it's been years now before I even reached out for your help with the properties. So it's pretty cool to be on the other side now.
Yeah, it's cool, eh?
Yeah. Cool. So I can critique myself when I watch this back.
Mate, I'm really excited. I think that the viewers are going to be really excited to hear your story and to see what you've been able to do. So I guess introduction, what's your background? What do you do? How'd you come across me?
A bit about my background, and then I'll lead how I became aware of yourself, Nath. So, like where it stands current day. So, I have a business. I've got my wife, Alicia, 2 young daughters as well.
What's your business, by the way? Do a little shout out for you.
Yeah, business is Mind Performance Health. So got a couple of businesses. The main one's Mind Performance Health, personal training studio. We got our studio at Rouse Hill where we help clients with their body transformations, nutrition, accountability, fitness with my team. And then I've just started a supplement business now as well, which is just coming to life as well. So they're kind of my 2 projects that keep me busy.
Okay.
And then, big passion of mine is investing into mainly property and crypto and stuff like that. But I came aware of yourself over the years was YouTube, I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
Watching your videos, because I always had a passion, but like anything, sometimes you need the right guidance.
Yeah.
So I came across your videos, listened to some of your tips, and I think it was 4 years ago or something like that, where I booked a session in with your team to sit down and map out a goal.
Yeah.
I listened to that advice.
Yeah.
And then it worked for us, and now we are where we are.
Yeah. 4 years already, eh?
Well, it'd be 4 or 5 years before lockdowns and that.
After it,
Yeah. And then it was just a introductory session, and we sat down, had a bit of a game plan.
Yeah.
And I didn't quite use the buyer's agent service at that time.
Okay.
I was like, oh, where's the locations? Like everyone does. Where's the hotspots?
Yeah.
And then I took that advice. I bought in the hotspot that was mentioned, Southport.
Yeah.
And it kind of worked out for us. And I was like, all right, I need your help. Let's scale this thing up, you know? So,
That's cool. I went to your shop, to your gym. I wouldn't call it the studio. What do you call the gym?
Studio, gym.
Yeah. Went to the gym the other day and I'm looking at you do things and you pulled out some fat calipers.
Yeah.
I'm like, fuck, I really need to come and see the professional, right? Because I go to the gym, I try and I'm like, I've lost a bit of weight from those old videos that you would have seen and whatnot, but I need to tweak it up to the next level.
Yeah, so we'll get you in shape pretty quick. Don't worry about that. But they're humbling when we grab the hips and squeeze a little bit.
Yeah, I'm just like, fuck yeah, don't squeeze too hard.
Well, it depends if you've been cheating on your diet. We do, you know?
Yeah. It's good, but that's cool. And so your journey, so you got your business. A lot of business owners out there will work hard in the business, earn good money, just keep pushing it back into the business, but not think about, hey, one day I don't want to do this, or I'm going to be, too old to do it, or whatever the case may be, and not planning for retirement because you're not forced to have a super fund in your own business. So a lot of people just go, oh, don't worry about super, just buy a house or do something, and they make good active income, but not passive income. And you've made that connection. Hey, I need to get passive income and build up the stream. So
I think that was where, especially with like my mum and dad they bought a couple of properties. It worked out for them, and I saw the power of what that allowed to them to do with their lifestyle, from getting like their own house and things like that.
Yeah.
And then I just wanted to scale that more. But yeah, you're absolutely right. For me, the business is kind of a vehicle with the income it gets to help support the wealth creation that I'm trying to make for my family.
Yeah.
And it took a while to learn that. Like when you first start business, you get fixated on revenue, but you got to worry about your profit when you go to the bank and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But now that we're a bit more savvy with it, I mainly use it as a vehicle to help get the assets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course. And so when you came to us, you bought Southport. When did we buy the first one? When did I get the first one for you?
So we had that initial session, went in Southport, got that, lockdowns happened. So we were on pause for a little while, business shut down.
Yeah.
It's 2 years ago. So last year was 2024. So 2023 in November, I started with yourself.
Yeah.
I had the call with you while my wife Alicia was giving birth. She was literally in the hospital. We were literally in the hospital she was in labor with my daughter Elena, and I had the call with you while we were in the hospital doing a strategy session. So it's been just over 2 years. Yeah. So I was like, you're doing good, keep pushing it. How many properties can we get? So it's been just over 2 years now.
Okay.
Yeah.
2 years, awesome. And I'm really excited with your growth because you came to us with the Southport property. You also bought another one that we were going to have. You bought it, you're settling it, you bought one, like a new one. Yeah,
so what happened was, so we had two properties before I had three properties. So I had two with family that were tied up in Riverstone and Toukley. I bought another property with a friend in Toukley.
Okay.
And then we got Southport.
Yeah.
And then I was stuck. The lenders were just looking at me on the loans. Things changed. So we had to get rid of the ones we tied up with the family and my mate.
Yeah.
Sold all those.
Yeah.
Had Southport and Alicia had Mount Druitt.
Yeah.
Those two.
Yeah.
And then we kicked it off with yourself.
Yeah.
To get started. Yeah.
Fantastic. Awesome.
And then we had a unit in Schofields that we were going to move into.
Yes. There was one that was like a new one that was like
correct. Yeah. So we bought that off the plan and we were going to move into that. We don't have that anymore because it just wasn't serving a purpose. But that's kind of where we were starting at.
Cool. And how many properties we bought in the last 2 years?
So we're at we sold Schofields. So we're currently at 16 plus we got a deposit on a commercial. So if we include that, then it's 17 properties.
What's that?
Yeah, it's fantastic.
2 years.
Well, we had a goal to get 20 in 3 years, so we're on track. To bang that out.
Once we settle the ones that we've got in the pipeline at the moment, we'll come back, pull equity.
Yeah. Well, with the interest rates coming down, that's exciting news and that as well. So we should be able to smash it out.
How good's that, eh?
Yeah.
How good's that? A lot of people, just so I know, just a little side step, right, on that interest rates, like a lot of people don't realise, so they say, I'm just pulling our numbers, right? I don't even know what your debt is off the top of my head and you don't need to share it. But like a lot of investors I see, if they've got like 10 or 15 properties, they're at like 3 million. That's a good number of debt that people get, right? 3 mil worth of debt. If interest rates come down by 1%, that's 30 grand a year, they're better off. Right? Yeah. If they come down by 3%, now people think it's impossible for it to come to 3%. But every time that rates have dropped, they've dropped at levels of 3%. They don't just go 25 basis points, everyone have a great day and move on with it and let's go up again. So if it comes down by 3% on 3 mil, there's 90 grand a year that one could have as extra income. If there's neutral cash flow today, it becomes positive by the out. So I'm really excited with your journey because interest rates going down, like a lot of people don't realise the impact that that'll have on the market. A lot of people like yourself that are sitting there like, if I can buy another 10, I'll go buy another 10.
Yeah.
And that means that, stock depletes, prices rise, more people come in the market, your net worth's going to go up. You're going to get there a lot quicker as well. So.
Yeah, no, it's exciting. I play on I've got a little sheet with the interest rates and I take away a couple of percent, look at the number. I'm like, I'll wait for that to happen.
Yeah.
But it's all going good, Nathan. And like I said, appreciate your help. Because I knew where I wanted to go, but I didn't have like the right strategy, I would say. So it's been pretty good the last couple of years. There's been challenges we've had to go through, but that's like anything else, I suppose. You just got to bust through them.
So wants to go to the gym and get fit. And,
it's never linear.
I remember I went to the gym 2 years ago. I hadn't been for like 7 years, and I went to the gym and then I did some weights And then the next day, my arms, I couldn't move my arms. So I like stuck and I was locked in for like 3 days. I was sleeping with my arms crossed like that. And I was like, that's fucking stupid, right? But the thing is, like, if you want to have muscle growth, you've got to have a bit of torn muscle, and adversity brings upon growth, and it's healthy. So,
Yeah, that's like what we see with our clients. It's never a linear, like we look at body fat or weight loss or other metrics too. There's always little things, but the average trend, if you're consistent, that's where it pays off.
Yeah. You're well inconsistent. So it's
just got to keep going.
That's it. So cool. And so looking at the connection there. So do you think it was your parents that inspired you to, or do you think it was just you knew that you needed to do something else, or you just decided and go rich people? For me, I think when I was a kid, like, rich people have property, I need to be like them, right? But was there something that triggered you to go, property is my vehicle?
I think, look, I read some books I think that my parents had on property investing, and then it is who you surround yourself with. I looked at what my parents were doing for sure, and they have their own business. And, it's like, okay, you can work hard in your business, but if you make your money work harder for you as well, you get the best of both worlds, right?
Yeah.
And then I did have another, just even off the top of head thinking about it, is another older, it'd be like kind of my first mentor when I was younger. Yeah. And he was a pretty savvy guy. And he worked for my mum and dad on the weekends, had his own business as well, but he was into investing. Okay. And then I saw the lifestyle that he kind of was living as well. Yeah. So I think it was influenced, definitely.
Yeah.
And so before I started PT, I actually worked in the construction industry. I did air conditioning, HVAC, as an apprentice. Yeah. I think if I really think about it, because it comes from pain, I think. Yeah. I saw where some of the older tradies were ended up, and I really didn't want to be like that. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. And there's nothing wrong, each their own, but I just wanted something more to build up to.
Yeah.
And work towards, and not be stuck in certain situations of life if I can take control of my finances. Yeah.
And whilst you're younger, like, a lot of people get to 60 and they're like, shit, I've got no option. People get to 50, like, shit, I've got no options. Like, you're young, you've got a young family, and it's a great time to be doing it. Business is doing well and all that. The other question I've got as well, like, you see a lot of people from a athlete side of things and from performance, and the ones that are most successful in what you do. Is there common traits that you'd see between a successful, fit person compared to a not so fit person?
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah. So I'll even share stories on this. So we've got like the traits I see is definitely grit. You got to have grit because like we touched on before, nothing's ever linear.
Yeah.
And like if I think of the athletes, like I've had the opportunity to go to France to help Australia as their strength coach with water ski racing, help Brazilian jiu-jitsu athletes in Japan, all different sport, wakeboarders. It's definitely grit.
Yeah.
Personal ownership.
Okay.
On both sides. Okay. So what I mean by that is, like, I take personal ownership of their goal, but if you do not personally take personal ownership of your own goal, it's not going to work. Having a goal is important. And then delayed gratification, I think, is very important that I've seen. And just, you have to have adversity. Like, even you met Bailey the other day in the gym, and he's now a professional natural bodybuilder, and I coach him.
Okay.
So a recent story, even with himself, is that we were last year trying to get that pro card for him to become a professional. Okay. And he kept just falling short by one place kind of thing. Each time he did about 3 shows and just fell short.
Yeah.
We didn't plan to do a show 2 weeks later, right? He finished his season. We only planned to do this one show, but then he was, it's like, we just missed out. And then he's feeling a bit down, and then we made a decision to do a show 2 weeks later.
Yeah.
And he got his pro card. It was a Worlds in Canberra where everyone came out, and he got his pro card as a bodybuilder. Okay. But if he didn't have a bit of grit, adversity when the moment was tough, and made a decision to keep pushing through, it wouldn't have happened.
Yeah.
And I even said to him, if you don't do this show and there's there's other athletes that you went up against that would have got that position, I'm not going to talk to you. You know what I mean? So it helps to push a little bit as well. And that's exactly what would have happened if you didn't do the show. So I think all of those character traits, not just one, I think all of them are important with what I've seen, like athletes, or even not just athletes, but professionals that want to lose weight, mothers, fathers. But it all starts with just making a decision.
Because I was out with you the other day at your studio at the gym, and there was photos, all these people where they've like lost fat and got ripped. I was like, I want to be like one of them, right? I want to be like this guy. I want to be this one, right? And you're like, oh, this one here, and you have a wall full of them, right? I'm like, fuck, like the wealth of people, right? There's not many people that have 20 properties in their portfolio. There's only 170 people, right? The amount of people that have six packs that are visible, there's minimal. There's probably more millionaires out there. There would be a lot more millionaires. It's easier to be a millionaire than what it is to have a six pack, right? The world we live in today. So it's very interesting. And you have all these people with six packs, and you said something about someone, you said, oh, that person, they come to me, like, you said some people come to me religiously and they're there constantly. Sometimes people come to you for a couple of months. They go off and eat lots of ice cream. They come back to you. Like, I need to come back for help.
Get in shape again.
Exactly, right? And I think, those things I've seen those things over the years, right? Some people are like very just consistent with their habits and getting good habits. Some people are like very like up and down. It's like a season they go into, and then they're like, here's $1 million, let's do something. Like, oh shit, I'm broke, I want to sell something. Right? It's like, it's being consistent and having,
I totally agree. Everyone's a bit different. I think it just comes down to what you value. But you're right. Like, to get into shape, it's not easy. Like to get to low body fat percentage. And I saw a post the other day that said it might be rarer than someone wearing a Rolex to have a six pack soon. You know what I mean? So it's going to get pretty crazy. And then I'm on top of the trends in Australia. And in Australia, stats came out last 2 years, they haven't reviewed it since, by the Obesity Hub, and 7 out of 10 Australians are obese or overweight. And that's 70%. That's a lot.
I observe, like, I'm more conscious nowadays of, like, I looked at all my videos and the intro videos and the clips that they had of me, and I was like, fuck, who's that? I look like Peter Griffin or Family Guy right before it, right? And I'm conscious of what I eat, the seed oils, all that sort of stuff. And then I look around and I'm like, I know I'm committed to go to the gym and make myself better. But then I look around me at the shops and I'm like, fuck, there's like, they don't talk about these shapes of people, right? They're just like, it's hard to see people that are like, hey, you got a six pack, and it's like,
but even in not getting to a healthy body fat level helps. Because there's a lot, mate, I've sat down with clients. I've done for our presentation, I went through, so over 700 consults the last 2 years I've done where I've sat down and reviewed different people and it was like their goals. And I've sat down with those that have had heart attack, really successful in business, really successful in life. Money's not a problem, but they've had the heart attack and now it's time to make a change, But that was a symptom due to the whole time. But what made you start to really was it dialing your fitness? Just got sick of it?
So I fell off. Like, I used to go to the gym all the time, and then maybe like 9 years ago, I just got in a bit of a stressful point in my life. I was like selling all these properties, I had some finance issues where I couldn't get loans and stuff, maybe like 2016. And then I just didn't go to the gym as much, and I was like, fuck it, I don't need to pay for my membership. I never turned up. I was missing PT sessions every week. I kept paying it. So I just never went back to the gym. And then life got in the way. And then one day, I actually got drunk one day, and then I was like, shit, who's this miserable bloke I'm looking in the mirror? I don't drink often, but I can drink a lot. Like, just, if someone wants to challenge me, I could, right? I don't drink beer or wine. I just drink like scotch or that. And I haven't had a drink for years, actually. And I just looked at myself. I was like, fuck. I actually watched this video. It's called what is it called? It's a family, the Bucket List family, right? And they're a YouTube channel. Some guy had a tech company, and it was maybe worth $50 million or something. I was like, just drunk looking at this YouTube video playing. I was like, this guy's so happy, right? He's worth less than me. And I'm like, he's just traveling the world and living a life and that, and like he's eating organic food. I eat organic food, but then just lifestyle's bad, and then busy type bad, and then I was like, shit, I need to look after myself, right? And I gotta, and I look at people when they hit 40. That they're not in shape and stuff like that. I'm like, I'm going to turn 40 in the next few years, and I need to get fit. So I just started going to the gym, and for ages, for like 2-3 years, I knew I had to go to the gym, But for me to get back to where I was, it was all too hard, right? But then I realized at that point that I just need to turn up to the gym, right? It doesn't matter if I lift up one dumbbell, right? I need to get there.
Yeah.
And then you start doing that, you get in a habit, and it's like that becomes easier, and then you can improve upon things. So, yeah, and I look at it now, and I look back to where I was. It's like, fuck, how did I ever get there? But it was just something in my life, bad time, changed habits, and yeah.
And you feel better now, energy-wise?
Yeah, definitely like better than what it was beforehand. Like,
Yeah, that's good.
Like, just if you think about it, right? 'Cause people when they see me, they're like, "Fuck, you're much bigger than what I thought," right? Because people think I'm like 5 foot or something.
5
I'm 6'4" and hands a dinner plate. But maybe it's because I've got no neck, right? Or short neck. But people see me and they're like, "Wow, you're always bigger." But I was like 120 kilos, and I was like fat, and I've lost like, I don't know, 15 kilos or so, but I've put on muscle. So, and you think about it, right? Like 15 kilos doesn't sound that much, but then if you go to the shops and you bring in the groceries and you got like, I don't know, that's 12 bottles or 125 bottles of Coke, right? If you're walking around with 2 bags with 6 bottles of 1.25 bottles of Coke in each bag, walking around all day, that's what you're just carrying around with you. So naturally, you know.
Oh, the body struggles. Yeah, it's
pumping blood.
Oh, there's a lot of cancer, higher rate of cancer, early death. It's the second to tobacco. Like if you're overweight, second to tobacco, which is pretty scary.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's I'm a big advocate. Like I say, like with our team and that, we're at the war with obesity.
Yeah.
But we're unfortunately losing because it's too convenient.
But
Western society.
The food's terrible. Like I started looking at the food. I don't do anything. I don't fuck around with things. Right? If I'm going to do it, I'm going to make a good job of it. Right? And, there'll be a mess on the way, but I want the fucking result. Right? So I look at it down to the food and the seed oils, and like people don't realize the junk that they're eating. People go, "Oh, I used to eat Macca's chips when I was younger. I used to eat these Sayos when I was younger, or whatever." And it's like, no, they're different, right? It's the shit that they put in it, and no one looks at it. So like, I spent a lot in the last 3 years just researching the toxic ingredients and the chemicals that's inside food, right? And like I'm very conscious of the food, what goes in my mouth. So,
well, they're a business, like, and they put fillers in, gluten, all these kind of things, because when you eat it, tastes good, and then you kind of get a hit, and then you want to keep going back.
Like a drug dealer selling drugs.
Literally, that's like how it operates with the food companies, like allegedly. But yeah, they're a business, and that's how they kind of do their thing. But it is too convenient these days, and it's everyone wants to make more money, but no one wants to go to the gym these days. Like think of the amount of people that pay for a membership, never turn up. So yeah, you got to, like I think that's the thing I've seen, mate. I've seen what happens if you don't get to a healthy body fat, and what potentially can happen. So I think that scares me, especially because I've got a young family and that, but it scares a lot of people, and hopefully, listeners and whoever else comes across this can actually take action before that happens.
Yeah. I think it's important. Like I've got heaps of property stuff to talk to you about, but I could talk all day about, getting fit and healthy. And on that note, right, we'll get into some juicy property questions for you. We actually have an event. It's on the 28th of February.
Yeah, next Friday, 28th.
Next Friday. So I don't go and do seminars, and people go, "Oh, come and do a seminar, come speak at that." I don't do that often. Probably done in the last 5 years, maybe 4 times over that period of time, and a lot of them being closed groups. So next Friday, the 28th of February, there'd probably be a description, like a link somewhere above, below, attached here, on the bottom of the screen here, of how you can register to the event. The spots are limited. It's a free event. We'll be talking about getting fit and healthy and wealthy and building wealth.
That's it.
As well as it. And how it all gels together. So maybe we can go further into that on that point. And let's jump into some of the juicy parts about the property portfolio.
Yep.
Yeah. Looking at, like, we talked about your clients and, the habits and all that, goal setting, right? Like the first thing we had on the discussion is, where is it that you want to be? Where is it that you're at? Work out that strategy. How important do you think that is compared to, hey, let's just go and buy in Toukley, let's just go and buy in Southport? Like, the goal setting, the strategy, how do you feel that's played an impact on your journey?
I think it's one of the most important details to get right. And if you don't have clarity on where you want to go, I think that's where it can be a harder journey.
Yeah.
And like if I was to relate it to what we do, so we have a similar thing where clients will come in, I'll sit down with them, or my sales team will sit down, we do a consult.
Yeah.
And what do you want to do? Why do you want to do it?
Yeah.
How does that look?
Yeah.
Because, if you want to get as much muscle as you can, well, we might have to go to the gym and lift weights more often.
Yeah.
How do you want to look? We have to work these different body parts.
Yeah.
And I've heard you say, correct me if I'm wrong, but there's different vehicles to get us to where we want to be.
Correct.
Right. And it's the same thing with this. I look at the different toolkits we use, different vehicles to try and get us to where we want to go, transforming as long as we can help. So, I think if you've got clarity around where you want to go with your goal, then you can pick the appropriate strategies to actually help achieve it.
Yeah.
But if you don't have clarity, it's hard to reverse engineer and actually get there.
Yeah. I guess like if you're trying to get fit and healthy, if someone's fat, just throwing out words. Maybe we're not PC here, right? That Birchy 2 years ago, 3 years ago. Do you firstly go and just work on growing muscle, or do you lose weight first, and then like what would you like? I'm just
so like usually I would ask. I would say, cool, like Nate, how much or Birchy, how much weight do you want to lose? And you'll tell me a number, or you won't tell me a number. You either say you give me a weight target. I ask why is that important to you, or you'll tell me it's not about the weight, it's about more how I look and feel.
Yeah.
And then from there I distill down, and it's like, all right, it's important to cover why you want to do it. Mm-hmm. I've always found if you don't have a big enough reason, you won't take personal ownership as much. Your values will come off. But we need a tangible target. But it's not just about weight loss, especially with what I do.
Yeah.
I'm also help with like body composition, vitality, quality of life, helping hormones, all these kind of areas as well. Because we can lose weight pretty quickly, but is that muscle? Is that are you going to feel great on it?
Yeah. Maybe
not. Yeah. So we want to distill down and go, cool. How do you want to look? How do you want to feel?
Yeah.
Where's your current snapshot with your lifestyle, sleep, digestion, stress, all these areas, your current daily nutrition, and then from there, it kind of shows me, all right, this is like where you're at the moment. This is where you want to go. These are going to be the best strategies that you can do tailored consistently, because that's important to have a tailored plan. And then we can actually action it, but it's like, once again, correct me if I'm wrong, if someone comes to you and goes, hey, I just want to get 50 properties.
Yeah.
Without having any.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. As you're saying it, I'm thinking about it, and it's like, it's literally the same conversations you'd be having with someone going, hey, help me get into shape, make me look like that bloke or that chick or whatever, right?
Yeah.
It's the same thing as what I have with my investors. It's like, tell me, where is it you want to be? What's the end goal look like? And then sort of reverse engineer the best way forward. People come in and say, I want to get 50 properties. Why?
Yeah.
Oh, just because I want to. Well, you're not in the position to get there, right? Like if someone comes in and they're 400 kilos and they say, I want to bench press, I don't know, 200 kilos, I don't know, just make up some numbers here, right? They're not even going to be able to lift up a 2 kilo dumbbell or walk up the stairs to get to your office, right? And that's the thing that, what is the right thing for you to start at today? Like, is it running 10 kilometers a day, or is it just, doing a lap and stop, eating badly? And a lot of people have bad habits with the food. A lot of people have bad habits of lifestyle, drinking or whatever. A lot of people have bad habits with spending. A lot of people have bad habits with a bad relationship. The people that come see you have got a bad relationship, correct me if I'm wrong as well, would have a bad relationship with food and a bad relationship with movement. People that come to me, everyone comes to me for all different reasons, but they want help on managing the money better and acquiring assets in a better way. I thought I was doing okay going to the gym until I saw you the other day. I was like, fuck, I need to sign up. So I'm going to see you on Friday.
That's right. The chin up competition will come out with our challenge.
Yeah, wow.
But no, it's like we have some clients that are very advanced, and they just need a different approach to someone. But correct, it's mostly sometimes the limiting beliefs, I would say, on people that they have, like what they tell themselves. Like they say, I am a foodie, I am either off or on, all this kind of self-talk that I like, especially when I'm on consults, I hear and try to pay attention to what the stories that they kind of tell themselves. And that if you can change that part, that is more important sometimes to actually get all the actions and skills. So there's for everyone it's a bit different. Some clients need more skills, and they'll just execute and follow the game plan. And that's what you tell me what I need to do for the properties, and I'll do it. I'll try my best to try and make it happen.
And that's a reflection of your success, by the way, right? People, like someone will be watching this and say, oh, Michael must have started with this. He must have been lucky. He must have been like so many people that just keep scrolling through life and they're having excuses of why they can't do it. And then there's other people like, how can I be Michael, right? I want to get 17 in 2 years, right? And there's lots of you. You're at the Christmas party. There's other people there that are doing the same sort of things. So it's not like it's a weird thing, right? Like someone that could be hearing it for the first time and be like, oh, this is weird. Michael's done that, right? What made him different? But there's lots of people at a bodybuilding competition with six packs and ribs and abs and all that sort of stuff. But I ain't seen them at the shopping centre, right? They hang out at the different places, right? And it's funny when you break it down because the actions, the activities that people take, the choices that they take in their life, get them to where they are.
So who you surround yourself, like you don't know till you've been in proximity with those that have done it. And I didn't till I came with B.Invested. We knew where we wanted to go. Didn't know anyone that that's actually done it. So when we came on board, it was kind of normalized. It's like, all right, like, in our first year, we got 9 properties or whatever it was. And it's kind of like, that was like normal-ish, you know what I mean, of happening. So you don't know.
Fucking hurry up, let's get to 10.
Oh, yeah, let's keep going, keep stacking it up. It's, but like, even for myself personally going through it, and like fitness is what I do and I've done it, I'm in it. But even from the property investing side, I didn't know how quickly it could be done. I just didn't know what I don't know. I saw what my parents did and what others have done, but to get to where I wanted to go, I needed a bit of a different way.
I went to Christmas and I saw my family and they were talking about food. It's like, just have some of this, just have some of that. Why can't you eat this? Why are you being fussy? And they're all giving me health advice, right? And I'm telling them seed oils and this, sugars and that. You're all, and they're telling me, oh, no, you're stupid. I'm thinking to myself, I'm stupid, but like, I mean this with full love to my family. It's like, but I'm like, what are you poisoning yourself with your body, right? I'm like, I ain't taking that advice, right? I'm going to take the advice from Michael about, what I should eat and what I shouldn't eat, right? Michael's where I want to be, right? I'm just not, everyone chowing on chicken drumsticks and saying, and it's hard to, sometimes in family that it can be hard to get any point across in that. But once again, especially with fitness, you need to align yourself with someone who's either done it or helped other people do it. The same with property, right? Like there's people who go, oh, my parents said this today, you shouldn't buy in Mount Druitt. You know how many times when I was younger, don't buy in Mount Druitt, or debt's bad. You shouldn't buy a unit. Has anyone told you you shouldn't buy a unit?
We've had that heaps. I heard that heaps. And even still now I see all marketing and that rubbishing. But our best performing assets are units.
It's crazy, hey? People when I tell them I'll buy a unit, they're like, oh, yeah, but all my friends and family, well, how many of your friends and family have this, right? How many people say, oh, it's just a chocolate bar? How many people say, oh, it's just a packet of chips? Hey, how many people, it's just a can of Coke, right? You had Coke when you were a kid. You had, not Coke, like when I say Coke, we'll talk about probably.
Coke when you're a kid.
Coke when you're a kid. Off the walls. So it's like, it's just, that self-talk that comes in from
you got to be careful where it comes from, and I think in finances, wealth, or even fitness, opinions depends how you use the opinion. I think like some opinions, especially if it's someone close to you or whatever, it could hold you back, or in some ways it can push you forward.
And talking about that as well, like sometimes, like you asked me about what got me back into the gym and all that, the last few years. Something made me just fall off, right? Like I don't even know what it was specifically. It was just a tough time that I was dealing with in life. People can come and see you and they are doing well, and then they might have the monkey on their shoulder or a story going on or something. And do you see them where they just go, okay, and they just stop doing it? Like the mental toughness is too much for them?
Yeah.
And what do you think helps people in your experience overcoming mental toughness?
So there's many different reasons. Like we've seen it with clients where something will throw a curveball.
Yeah.
I think it will always come back down to your values at the end of the day.
Yeah.
For me personally, I've always trained ever since I was little. I've done bodybuilding competitions. I competed in kickboxing, boxing.
Yeah.
I used to fight in combat sports. I've done ultra marathons. I've always done something since I was young.
Okay.
And my point with that is no matter how I felt,
Yeah.
had an injury, it didn't stop me. If you can just build it into who you are as an identity, no different than brushing your teeth, then it's a lot easier.
Yeah.
For me personally, if I speak on myself, I just know how worse I feel if I don't do it versus doing it, no matter what. So mentally and physically. And then that has just a detriment on my life if I don't.
Yeah.
So I've seen that with those that are successful, they kind of understand that life throws a curveball, whatever happens. But I believe there's always to a degree, some way to adjust the plan or adjust what you're doing to adapt. And if you can, then it's just coming down to you making a decision to adapt, regardless of motivation.
Yeah.
You just rock up and just tick the boxes. There's going to be times you need to do that. I've seen it a lot with clients, and those that push through do understand that. It's just part of their identity. And that's what I believe with myself. But then we've seen with clients where something will throw a curveball at life, then it does stop them or derail them a little bit. So everyone's a bit different.
Yeah.
However, like I said, I just know, look, fitness is fitness, and it's proven. If you don't work on your health and fitness, you won't have the best mind.
Yeah.
You won't make the best decisions for wealth, finance, or work.
Yeah.
And you're just going to be unhealthy.
Yeah.
So
when I was younger, I'd see mates sort of be like, both like just in general, like women or blokes that are single, they become single, they try to attract someone. And they're like, I'm going to go to the gym every day. I'm eating fucking chicken and veggies, right? Chicken and veggies, whatever, right? And then they do it for like 3 months, get to a point, hit it, and they go, oh, yeah. And then see 3 months later, and it's like you've just lost everything, right? I think a lot of people, when they get into wealth or investing, it's like a season. It's like, oh, yeah, I'll do this. And then, sometimes like the real successful ones, the real healthy ones that live to 95 or 100 and they're ripped and they can still swim 10 Ks a day when they're 90. I know people that like that. Or you got people that are at 60 in a wheelchair and they've got a little mobility scooter, and it's those choices that it's easier to take the other way.
Yeah, easy to go the other way.
Yeah, short term.
Yeah, but that's like we came back to at the start, like you said, the traits.
Yeah.
And it's not even just athletes, but the delayed gratification, grit, all that applies to I think all of it. Yeah.
And different, like going to the gym nowadays compared to going to the gym 10 years ago, I feel different when I go there, right? Because I felt like I could get much greater beforehand. I'm pushing 40. I'm 40 in a couple of months.
Is that why too? Like, did the number of 40, I'm just curious, did the number coming into 40 also prompt you to work on your fitness?
No, I just know that if I don't do it now, then I've got a much higher chance of being fucked when I get older.
Yeah.
And it's like,
it's a bit more urgency to,
I used to smoke 2 packs of cigarettes a day. I love smoking cigarettes, right? And I've quit years ago, like 7-8 years ago. And I only quit that not because of price, not because of anything, because I knew that it's not a good habit for you and it'll be something that'll most likely fuck me up when I'm 60, 70, or if not younger, or maybe a bit older. And the same thing, you said about smoking and food. It's the food, it's the lifestyle, so there's habits. So I just knew I had to change something. And if I want to be like that, like I'm building all this wealth of, all that, I want to be around for grandchildren and maybe great-grandchildren one day. And it's like, I need to be active. I need to have a good skeleton. And I look in the mirror, I'm like, I look 40. In my head, I'm still 25. And my body, I feel like I'm 65. And it's like, if I'm 40 and I feel like I'm 65, how am I going to be when I'm 65? Yeah. So that's sort of why. And I realize at different stage of our life, we need different things. We're going to be at different places. And I think as investors, like a 20-year-old coming in, they're in a different position to a 40-year-old, or in a different position to a 60-year-old or 70-year-old. And I guess if someone's to come to you and they're 60, they'd be in a different, I my hips are sore, right? I want to be fit, right? I want to, someone had a stroke recently, whatever.
Yeah.
Would be different than some dude coming in 20s and go,
I just want to get jacked. Yeah. That's literally what they do. I just want to get jacked.
And so I don't know what 40-year-olds coming to say, like, I want to lose my fucking dad bod or something.
It's mainly like you're like 20s, teens. It's, mainly about, looking good.
I want to be a flamingo to get some chicks.
Literally, right? Like honestly, it's looking good.
Yeah.
30s, that still carries, like everyone wants to look good. But then what I've noticed definitely, especially when you have kids with clients, it's about leading by example for them. A lot of our clients want to do it for that because they understand the influence they can have. Mm-hmm. I would say it's definitely vitality, quality of life. Mm-hmm. And then they've just gotten to a point where they just, quite frankly, feel shit. Like they don't feel good in the mirror, how they look. And also just from a health feeling perspective, day to day, they don't feel shit. So it changes. Like 20s for sure, everyone just wants to get jacked, go to the clubs, feel good, shirts off, whatever.
Party pumps.
Party pumps. Exactly. Before you go to festivals, that's what they do. But 30s, it definitely changes. And then 40s, 50s, it is. There's a few more physical issues you've got to work around. Yeah. But one common thing which I believe in, and that's what we kind of preach, is strength training for all.
Yeah.
No matter whatever age, has massive benefits for your blood sugar, insulin response, strength as well. That's why that's our main tool we kind of use across the board. But it needs to be tailored for any age, but different values once again.
Yeah. And it was interesting you say about people with their children being a good role model for their kids. I was talking to Linda. A lot of people know Linda from my office. For those here, who's Linda? Who's Linda, right? I did a podcast with her recently. She was a chick with Koshy 10 years ago, and Koshy was a dick to her, right? And she's worth more than Koshy, right? Yeah. I don't know what Koshy's worth. Maybe speaking out loud, right? But she's she's done a lot for herself, right? And very, very proud of her growth over the last 10 years or so. And her son, he's just turned 18 and he's there talking about buying a property, and it's like, how to do this, how do I get started? And I was talking to him on the weekend, and he's like, so if I save a deposit, he's got an apprenticeship like a week ago he started. He's like, save up his money. He wants to buy his first property this year. And Linda's like telling me about the conversations after he came home from talking to me and how he was excited. And he's talking about, how do you pull equity, right? That doesn't sound right. He's like, wow. And she goes, I just watched him, and she goes like, I was proud because he got it straight away. And it's like, it's not something that's weird to him because he's been around his mum and dad for 10 years hustling out to get there. And I guess the same thing would apply to kids. It's like, it's not going, I'm 20 years old, I've got to get to the gym because, I'm fat and sick, whatever. It's like, it's a lifestyle thing. You're training the children from a young age to make healthy options and make healthy choices. And
Yeah, I was influenced by my dad. He was a rugby league player, rugged kind of guy, but he had a rusty gym set when I was younger, 12, 13.
Yeah.
And that's where I first started, is because I saw what he was doing and the equipment there. Yeah. So, I think, if you lead by example, it can have a carryover effect. But like for Linda and her son, if he gets started now, where will he be in 20 years? Yeah. He'll be...
He just turned 18. When he turned 30,
I mean.
His mates will be whinging, I can't afford a unit in Sydney for $3.6 million, right? Like people will be saying that shit, but the choice that he makes today will be, people might be going, why do you need to do that for? Why would you buy a little shitty property? Go and enjoy yourself. You're only young. But those choices, he'll be sitting there with 20, 30 properties at 30 years old going, okay, I'm glad I made these decisions. Thanks, Mum. And it's not like, Mum's forcing me to do it. He's excited to do it. it's just natural. That's what I need to do now. Just like you said with your father being, a footy guy, like in my household, there was no sports. I didn't play any sport, never played sport. Sport wasn't a thing. For me to get to the gym, it's like, fuck, I'm going to work again, right? It's like, it's a big task for me to do that. And I've never been an active person on that front. So upbringing of children, if someone's watching this with kids, like think about your actions. Like, are you fit? Are you sitting there, Dad, get me a beer, son, and the kid goes and gets a beer and becomes alcoholic, right? If you're like, let's go to Macca's, Macca's easy food. It's like, well, that's the cheap and easy, taking the easy route, but you're putting the pressure on your child when they get older because they're going to make bad decisions. And
and there's a point. I've seen, parents really push their kids, and that can sometimes backfire.
Yeah.
And I've seen that even with elite athletes, where the parents were pushing hard.
Yeah.
And I've seen that, where the kids are forced and they're like, you got to eat healthy, you got to train.
Yeah.
And at that specific time, they don't value it as much.
Yeah.
But if you do it yourself, you don't have to speak too much. They'll see what you do. And that can have one of the biggest effects. Like we got a client, Jason, he's a bodybuilder as well.
Yeah.
He didn't start off, he's a dad. Yeah. He's got like his son, Alex, which we coach.
Yeah.
He's 14 years old.
Yeah.
He saw his dad transform.
Yeah.
Like Jason's got his own business, but he saw his dad with his transformation.
Yeah.
And then now he's come across to us for the last year. Likewise, you said, with Linda and her son.
Yeah.
And his habits are very good.
Yeah.
But he's picked that up, I know, because of his dad.
Yeah.
So and his dad hasn't pushed him that much. He was like, cool, look, if you get into the gym, then we'll join Mick and then he can coach you. Yeah. So, I think you can't downplay that part. But like I said, unfortunately, 7 out of 10 Australians are overweight and obese. So if you don't actually do it yourself, everyone wants their kids to be healthy, but you've got to start with yourself to make it happen, I think.
I never, I see these things when people talk about it, right? It's like, I'm not for 1 minute, I'm not one that everyone make their own choice in life, but like that trauma, the generational curse, right? And it's like, you see people walk around. I went to the city the other day and there's like people that are in really bad health shape, right? I'm just observing and they're like sitting there looking, eating the ice cream, Red Bull. Right, the eyes have got like fluoride, they're in another planet or something. And then they got little kids and right? And I'm like, that kid is a reflection of the parent, right? And it's literally like, I think
it carries over.
Yeah.
And then, like you touched on, your parents, they didn't have much of a sporting background into health, but then you've transformed that for yourself.
Yeah.
So you can flip it around as well.
Yeah.
But
makes it harder though.
It potentially can, because you got to find your own way.
Exactly.
So it depends how you use certain opinions and things.
Yeah.
But it definitely does help if you have that proximity or the right environment that is supportive, so you can make the best decisions. Yeah.
Yeah. And you touched on a good point. Like if you force your kids to do something, they're going to rebel against you too. They're like, oh, I don't want to do that. Right? It's all too hard. But you got to find the happy medium, I guess, to make sure that they follow along. I want to get involved. Oh, my dad did that. You see people that are like, someone's a mechanic. In my family, my dad was a mechanic. So my brothers became mechanics, right?
Yep.
And it's like people do what their parents do and follow their footsteps. It's just...
Oh yeah, it's just how it is. I mean, like the cliche saying is like, you are who you surround yourself with. And if you spend a lot of time with your parents, that's who you're surrounding yourself with. So I'm conscious of that with my girls and with what we do. And like, we're not perfect. The kids will eat things here and there, and that's fine. You know, it's not that. It's just if you're majority, healthy and once again, we like to take them to the gym at our studio and see us work out. That's good. So we just show them, but I'll never be one to forcefully push too much on them, but just teach them. And
a child at like a 2-year-old, 3-year-old, 4-year-old, 5-year-old stage, they'll see you do a workout and they'll go, oh, I'm going to do a cobra pose.
That's what they do. They come to the gym. Layla will she'll grab a dowel, which is a big stick. She'll be on the bench pressing it. She'll be running back and forwards. And I'm not saying anything. I'm just working out by myself and she's just there. There's no clients in there. She's just running around. But she sees it, mimics it. And then Alicia will go to the gym and she'll mimic that as well and ask questions about it. So Yeah, that's all parenting's different, but yeah, I just personally believe for us, anyways, the philosophy we do is lead by example.
Yeah. That's cool. And I guess like tracking like progress, right? Like we're tracking your portfolio. You actually sent me an email, I think it was maybe 4 months ago, and I was like, let's get to 20 and 25 or something like that. And I was like, don't worry, we'll smash it, right? And then here's a couple more, we'll just make progress to get there. How can you track performance, right? And I felt when I was going to the gym, I'm working out, I'm going there every day, and then I'm hopping on the scales. I'm like, oh, I'm still a fat prick, right? And then I didn't see any result, but then I didn't even think that, hey, I'm turning fat into muscle and all that sort of stuff. What sort of things do you think are good for people to, stay on that journey and to measure their progress?
So managing expectations is very important. And knowing the KPIs or what you actually need to track to get the results. Like I said in our consults, once it's beyond just weight loss, it's like, how do we want to look? Do you want more shape in your glutes, the shoulders, the arms? Like we want to get that visual kind of idea. Or if it's a performance goal with athletes, where are you lacking in performance? Is it strength? Is it cardio? Is it endurance? So we need to get very clear on something tangible to take away. But if we use your case, for example, right? So your goal is you want to get jacked, right? Now, my definition of getting jacked is we're going to put in as much muscle as we can, and we want to get the body fat down low, right?
I want to get big.
Cool. So then we got to go beyond just looking at weight, because weight could look at a few different things, like your lean muscle, water, glycogen, food in your gut, many different things, as well as fat. So then in that case, well, I need to actually look at your body fat, which is what we did. Yeah. I need to look at how much of you is actual muscle.
I didn't like it. Like as we were there and you did it.
Yeah, there's a reason for that, but too.
Yeah, because I didn't want, like when I was fat and I looked like those like Peter Griffin sort of photos, I didn't want to look at myself in the mirror, right? I wanted to avoid it. Right? I see if someone's broke, they're like, oh no, that's just for rich people, right? Or oh, you got to have money to make money, right? There's all these reasons and excuse not to. And I consciously knew, hey, I don't look at myself as a fat prick, right? I don't like that bloke I see. But when you did the thing, I was like, I actually Googled, I was like, what's the, you told me the numbers, and I was like, what's this, what is it, should be? And
body fat percent.
Yeah. I was like, oh, it's still in range, but it's like, but I expected better for myself. And I'm like, I realized that I didn't have the support to hold me accountable for that, right? Yeah. And I've still been eating like lots of ice cream and stuff, right? Because I do, but it's all organic, right? I spend like $30 on a tub of ice cream. Right? It's Mangali ice cream, it's like has none of the bad things in it, but it's like I'm conscious of it, and it was good that because it's like an extra person holding me accountable, and I just do what I do on a daily basis with my investors, but I never really think of it. It's just like driving a car. Like I'm like, let's buy 10 properties a year. We'll get you 20.
Yeah, just what you do.
Yeah. At any
Without
point,
blinking.
At any point when I was like, oh, we'll get you 20 properties, we'll buy 3, we'll do this. Did you ever feel like I was ordering lunch, or I'll have 2 hamburgers, a bag of chips? Like, did it ever sound like that? Like,
just normal.
Yeah, just normal.
You know, and that's how I feel with what I do.
Yeah.
Where it's just your day to day, because you're so used to doing it, and it goes beyond just being confident. You're capable of doing it. It's just like you know, brushing your teeth. Yeah. But you touched on a good point there, Nath, which was you felt uncomfortable. You know, when we're doing the test. Yeah. But if you didn't feel that, why would you change?
Exactly.
Like you need to have that kind of pain to actually want to go somewhere. Exactly. Because if it's not big enough, or you don't have that uncomfortability, you're not going to, action the steps to kind of move. Because why would you? Yeah. So that's what I mean by that. That was good. It's like if I hear that, that's a driving factor and a motivator to actually get to where you want to be. Because if you don't, then you stay as you are, or potentially get worse. Exactly. You know, and
if you ignore it, if you ignore the problems, you ignore and it happens in any element of life. You ignore a problem in your business, you ignore a problem in your finances, you ignore a problem in your property portfolio, you ignore a problem with a health issue, you ignore a problem with your fitness. That you need to face it. You need to take action on it.
Yeah, it's not just fitness, it's different areas of life. Like we that's the same with us. We have urgency with the portfolio, because I'm like, all right, got the young family, I want to get things going, and that's my pain point to drive as well, to have options later on, with my family. So it's not just that one thing, but it is confronting. But if you use it once again in the right way and use that as fuel, then you'll, in the right way, in a healthy way, then you'll, and with the right skills, because you can also go the other way with it, where it's not healthy. But if you use it correctly, you'll succeed, in the right spot.
Yeah. I think, like, people say to me, like, what makes the difference between someone with like 2 properties or no properties to 20 properties? And I always think about it, it's a mindset behind it, right? It's a belief system. It's what you tell yourself. I was thinking about a situation of someone about taking constructive criticism, right? Because I've dealt, we were saying before the podcast, got hundreds of staff, and like I've dealt with thousands of staff over the years, and people will be like, you constructive criticism, and then they'll get offensive to you, right? And what I've realised, if someone's not taking constructive criticism that's going to help them, they're either not committed or they're trying to hide or deflect from the real issue which you're exposing of them, And if you're looking into yourself, I don't like you squeezing the fat on my fucking belly, but it's because I don't like the fat on my belly, right? So I can sit there and go, oh, you fucking pinch my belly fat, and I'm like, I've got a fat gut. I don't have a fat gut, but it's not what I want it to be. But I'm like, fuck, I need to get that, right? You've identified it. You know where it is. You're the expert. You come in and you go, that's what it is. So I'm like, let's get rid of it. So,
once again, it's the self-talk. You can sabotage yourself. And a saying I like with it too is you can be right or you can get results, So you can believe what you want to believe and that's go do your thing, or you can actually get results by reframing things. I've
got a couple of mates who are turning 40 shortly, and they're turning 42. They're turning 40 as well, not 42. And I'm like, fucking, I'm sending them over to you because I'm like,
I'll get everyone in shape by their 40.
By the time they're 40. And
go
like,
up on our wall.
I keep saying, hey, come to the gym with me, like midnight or whatever. They're like, oh, nah, I don't want to go to the gym. Gym sucks, whatever. I'm like, fucking, you want the result. I've heard from you for 2 years, an excuse. Like, so if they come and see you, then you're like holding them more accountable.
That's the missing part. It's usually the accountability. Like the skills for sure and all that as well, but the accountability is a big portion of keeping on track.
I've done mentoring programs over the years. I've done different ways that we've structured the business, and I've seen people like literally from these videos that we put out there, like I see people that come in and they go, I've got 20 properties, I've got 10 properties. Yeah, that's one in 10,000 people that do that. But the people that come in the office, I'd say 1 out of 2 people would get those sorts of results. So it's like, you can give everyone the information that they need, but if they don't have the guidance, the hand-holding, the support, I go to the gym and I think I've watched Instagram reels and I think I'm doing all right, and I fucking can't even move my arms some days because I've got tennis elbow. My what are these muscles called?
You got like your bicep brachioidalis.
I think that's the strongest fucking muscle in my body. I'm looking and I'm like, I mustn't be doing the thing right. I was at the gym the other day, I'm like, that's moving, but this isn't moving. And I'm just after coming in to do some photos in that in your place, I was like conscious. I'm like, okay, I better hold it slower on the way down when doing the lat pull downs. And it's like, it's refining. How do you
paying attention to the details. But what you're saying, like come into the office, that 1 out of 2. Yeah. Like in for your work, you mean?
Yeah, for
the business.
For my clients. So like if I'm working with investors, everyone, I think it's stupid. If people don't have 10, 15, 20 properties, I'm like, why the fuck aren't you doing it, right? I don't know if you see people and you're like, why does this guy have a 6-pack, right? Why does he have a gut like that, right? Just stop the beer, stop whatever, right? Like, do you think that like respectfully, like, do you see like people be like, fuck, he has so much potential, but he doesn't do it, right?
Oh, yeah. Potential doesn't mean everywhere much if you don't. Yeah.
Action it.
Yeah. There's a lot of potential.
Yeah.
I've seen even many that are gifted genetically and athletic gifted. They don't use what they have. Yeah. There's a lot of potential, but.
So just on that, right, like people genetically are gifted and they piss it up against the wall, right? And then you'd find someone where they call them big bones or whatever, right? And they're like, I have trouble losing weight or I have trouble doing this. And now I'll fucking do whatever they can do to get there. And the person has it, they don't realize what they've got. And I see that with investors out there. They don't know what they've got. It's the self-talk. It's the bad environment. It's the relationship that's saying, hey, we shouldn't do this or we should do that. Like, there's a reason why they haven't done it. There's a reason why 25 million people in the country don't have a fucking six-pack, right? They should, and they probably do have a six-pack underneath everything, right? But they don't have it on display because, whatever that is keeping you away from that. And ultimately, I heard something which was like, if you don't invest in your health like now, like you'll be paying for it in the future from ailments and stuff like that. And I'd rather invest in it now.
Yeah, delayed gratification. That's what it is. And that's the investment. Like even for me and Alicia with what we're doing, like with yourself, I know it's all delayed gratification. Like my team laugh at me too. I still drive and my friends do. They've all got the fancy. I've had fancy cars. Like I've had an Evo 6 Tommy Mackinnon thing and all this kind of stuff when I was younger. But now I have a little Hyundai i30 driving around. I get out. I'm not doing bodybuilding shows anymore, but when I was bigger, I hop out of it, move around. And then even like we sold our unit that we were going to move into for Schofields. That was kind of midpoint. So we could keep investing, but then it didn't end up being part of our strategy. So we had to get rid of it. And then even what we do now is we live in a granny flat, so we can save as much as we can to keep investing. So, it's, you got to know where you want to go clearly. And then I think no matter if it's fitness, investing or that, but try to action the tasks because it's a money game. I was going to say money game personal training, right? But it's a money game property investing, right? You always say, it's about the finance. The banks are going to look and tick or not tick. And that's one thing I've learned being with yourself is to pay more attention to those things so we can get it across the board.
My finance, so people think property investing is about let's get the property. It's going to be the coolest thing. Where it's down to the finance and structuring the money aspect of without the money you can't buy shit, right? For you, people go, it's just because I've got to go to the gym and lift some weights. It's like, no, it's about what you eat. It's like the bigger picture. It's not just, okay, lift some weights. Anyone can go lift a few weights, but it's like, it's what weights to lift at the right time, right? You start lifting the wrong weight or doing the wrong movement, you're not going to be in a good spot. You're going to hurt yourself, you're going to injure yourself, you're going to be out for 6 weeks because you busted your arm or whatever. And the same thing when it comes to property, people,
attention to detail. It's like you can go to the gym, lift a couple of weights, not track, not know what you did, do it randomly each week. But if we want to maximize and speed up the result, and I'll relate this like with investing, what I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, but like we need to know what you're lifting each week, what exercises you're doing and your performance, and beat that each week. If you want to speed it up, we need to know how much food's coming in, how you're operating with that. And then I would say, like with investing, it's like the finances, like how much money you make, how much are you saving, the business net profit, and that's, I didn't know all the ins and outs of the business and even what we pay ourselves as a wage and all this kind of stuff to get these properties across the line, and it's the same kind of thing. If you don't know the details, you can't make the best adjustments.
I remember my nephew, he's like pretty ripped. He's like 16 or something. And a couple of times I've been to the gym with him to say, if I see him, I'll be like, hey, come to the gym or whatever. And I go to the gym and he's like, okay, we're going to do chest today. And he's like full like, oh, let's do this. And he's like, he's perfect, right? He's good. I go to the gym like, oh, let's do this one. Let's do this one. Let's do this one. It was about a year after I was going to the gym. I was like, shit, every day I'm just lifting whatever machine. I didn't even realize I'm doing a bit of arms, a bit of chest, a bit of legs, whatever. It did okay. I got an okay, like it's better than doing nothing. I made a bit of progress, but I'm like, if I want to focus in on certain things, right? Like,
it's like property, like the strategy. It could be like you buy off the plan, or you buy commercial.
You're still buying a property,
and you might do okay. But will you get the best results where you want to go?
Correct. You're stuck at one. If you're stuck at one property, like your Tukely scenario with you buying properties with other people, it's like people go, oh, I'm going to buy a property with my friend, right? Yeah, buying a property with your friend all sounds romantic and fun, right? You're doing stuff with your mate that's like cool. But then you're not looking at the finer details of, hey, when you buy that property with someone, you're 100% liable for that debt and it's going to screw up your servicing and you're both hurting yourself because you're not doing it right.
And that's what happened to us. I didn't know that until it became a problem. When we were trying to get more property and loans. And then it was like, oh, you're taking on all the debt, even though There's more hands on it.
Yeah.
And that's why we had to exit it.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, if you know that kind of stuff early on, it's game changing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Before, like today, we've talked a lot about like the health and all that. I've got a couple of questions before we wrap up the podcast, just about your journey, right? Maybe just 3 random questions that come to my head about your journey. Starting out with investing to today, how do you reckon your mindset's changed at all about your property journey? Yeah,
so for me, I think what it was is that I always wanted to do it. So I knew where I wanted to go. I just didn't have the skills. I didn't have the strategy. So mindset-wise, I was always I was committed.
Yeah.
Until I hit these roadblocks.
Yeah.
You know, whether it was the ones with the family, lockdown happened, business, you know, we weren't making as much money, couldn't borrow any money. Yeah. So it wasn't necessarily, you know, I believed too much. Now I did, you know, thinking with family, we could borrow more. I did think house, like the properties we had at the start were house.
Yeah.
House in Toukley on land, 700 square meters, house in Riverston and house there. But then they were more, actually, do you know what the biggest one is? I would say it's more the negative gearing thing. So we bought the houses, but the rent wasn't covering.
Okay.
That'd probably be the biggest switch for me, because my parents went more, I'd say, the negative gearing route to a degree, and that worked for what they wanted to do. But I had Toukley and things like that. The decisions I made on those weren't the best to scale.
Yeah. So that'll probably take me to my next question then. Like looking at you know how far you've come, like how do you see that? Like there's a few parts of this one, right? So 17 properties. Do you ever talk to anyone about it?
Yeah, we do. Yeah,
like just like generally mates.
Yeah, it's
whatever.
Like those that are interested. I don't push it or anything like that, but I'm pretty open and transparent.
Yeah.
With what we do, because we do get questions and whatnot.
When you say you got 17, what do people say? Like do they say congratulations, or do they say
no, the feedback overall is pretty positive. It's more so how did you do it?
Yeah, okay.
You know, I would say is the main thing. And then to be honest, I've sent some of people that have had chats with Wayne. Yeah, I think there's 3, 4, 5. Now, whether they take action or not, different.
It's up to them.
Yeah, it's up to them. But they have been like, look, this is how we're doing it. And then this is who's helping me. Yeah. So overall, it's positive feedback. Now, behind closed doors, I don't know. You know, but people will always have opinions, but why worry about the 10%? To hold you back. But yeah, it's all overall positive.
I was just curious because I don't talk to many people about property. The people I do talk to about property, I'll talk to camera and people watch what I do, but I don't go home and talk to family and friends about it. They talk to me about it and it's just like, oh, what did you do today? Oh, you know, like whatever is in someone's day.
I got you. Like, so you don't talk too much about property at home? That's interesting.
Now, if I go to I talk about property at home, but then I just do it. I just do it. It's like doing stuff.
I mean, Alicia, the same. We'll go for a walk and literally we'll walk for 45 minutes a day. Half that walk at least, if not more, was talking about property. My discussions about business, all different stuff like that. Yeah.
But I mean, like, if I went to a barbecue this weekend, right, just hypothetically, I don't go to barbecues. I'm pretty introverted, right? I don't socialize that much. People think I'm extroverted because I talk in front of a camera, right? But if I was to go to a barbecue and someone goes, "What do you do?" I feel actually very uncomfortable going like, because it's like, here's how am I going to explain? They've got hundreds of properties, and they go, "Well, how'd you do it?" Right? And then, but back in the old days, I remember like chicks I was dating, their parents would go, "Oh, why are you doing that for? You should do this, you should do that," or whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
And it's like, and I think about their advice and I'm thinking, well, where did your advice come from? Colleagues that I'd work with, "Oh, you're stupid buying houses in Mount Druitt, you're stupid doing this, units are no good, debt's bad." Like my mum, bless her, she's like 82 this year. She, throughout every year of my adult life, she's been fearful of something, right? She's like, first one, great, bought a property. Second one, oh, really great, right? Third one, it's like, watch out, you're going to go bankrupt. Fourth and fifth one, it's like Britney Spears shaving her head, right? It's like, it's gone crazy. 10th, it's like, let's have an intervention about it, right? It's lost off the rails, right? 20, 30, I don't know what you're doing. You just, don't talk to me about it, right? And then I quit my job, and they're like, why would you quit your job for? No one in the family's ever earned a job. Which, I was on like 100 grand income working 2 jobs, right? And I quit my job, so I was earning 100 grand. Like, how could you do that, right? No one's ever in the family earned that. That was what I need to do. And to this day, like my mom's like, she's very like, I don't know, just sell properties, get rid of your debt, right? She doesn't understand it. And it's always been a challenge that I've had to overcome. Like I don't go home and talk to when I say talk to my family, I don't go and talk to my siblings about it. I don't go and have a barbecue with my family and go, oh, this is what I'm doing, right? It's like I respect that space because I find it difficult to have the conversations about it because I get so much, I've been peppered so much shit.
Yeah.
Okay? So I just don't talk to people about
Interesting.
it. Yeah, if I go I went to a wedding the other week, someone said one of my clients' weddings, and some people go, oh, what are you doing? And I had to try to explain, like, oh, my property's got hundreds of properties. Oh, wow, yeah, I've actually heard of you beforehand, right?
Oh, but you think you're not sure what's going to be thrown back after you explain it because you're so used to like what's been happening.
Well, no one's going to tell me. Like, if they throw something at me, I'll just like, fucking shut up, right? So I don't care, right? But like 9 out of 10 people won't just go fuck off, right?
Yeah.
I just don't care. I've had to ignore everybody's feedback my whole life. I respect and go, okay,
that's your opinion.
That's your opinion.
Yeah.
You're a little bit there, I'll take that. But I just, okay, cool, right? But I see 9 out of 10 people would, like, if your parents tell you don't do it, you think, okay, mum and dad's telling me from love and the care factor, right? But they're telling you based on their fears why not to do something, right? So if you listen to them, so you have to break away. There's the mental toughness. It's like, I'm just saying someone goes to the gym and they're, like this, they look like Homer Simpson, then they go to the gym and get jacked, and then they start going home, and then like people are saying to them, why are you doing all this gym stuff for, right? Why do you want to look like that for? Why? Like, it's like people out there, 9 out of 10 people, I reckon they've got all their colleagues saying, why do you want to invest in a property? Go buy Bitcoin. Let's go on a holiday. Let's go to the pub and talk some shit. I don't want to hear about this stuff. Let's talk what's happening with football, right?
Yeah.
That negative, I just didn't know if you'd experienced anything like that.
There's been opinions.
Yeah.
My family's pretty good. Family's pretty good. There's always some safety.
Yeah.
Are you sure this much loan or you good? Which is fine. My family's lovely, super supportive, motivating.
Yeah.
But there's been some opinions like like why we're not getting our own place right now.
Yes, that sort of stuff.
Right?
Yeah.
From others. But to be honest, quite frank, I don't care. I don't give a shit because I take the opinions of those that are kind of where I want to be.
Exactly.
Because they're where I want to be. Yeah. So I ask that question first, like where's it coming from and is that where I want to end up? Because the simple way I look at it is those opinions are going to lead me to where you're at.
Where they're at, exactly.
Yeah, so I want to be careful with what I'm letting in because otherwise that's going to take me down a road that may not be where I really want to go.
Right.
So I think everyone would have some degree of opinions coming through. Alicia always says to me, I always do what I want anyways. She does, right? And so I don't know whatever reason that is, but I do. Yeah. Even starting MPH, people thought I was crazy for starting MPH because I had my business in HVAC. I was at Brangaroo working, good job. Doing like all the bit of engineering and HVAC commissioning there. Yeah. And then one day I just had enough. I saw 2 tradies hanging over with their butt crack, hanging out. And I was like, I'm not going to end up like that. And then I left, and then everyone thought I was crazy because then I burnt the boats and just went all in on PT. And they're like, what are you doing? Yeah. But I just knew where I wanted to end up. Yeah. And it's all worked out, but it's no different with property. If I just go, cool, whatever your opinion, Nath, is, because you've achieved something, you've got proof of where I kind of want to lead to a degree with. That's how I kind of distill it. But I'm not too bad with opinions, but they have been there.
So do you reckon you got more opinions from your business, setting up your business, or more opinions from building a portfolio?
Oh, I'd say more business. Because like my parents done investing. Now when we got more properties, then it was like, you okay? Which is good. I know it's coming.
It's healthy.
It's coming. It's healthy. You're able to support the loans and stuff like that, right? Business wise was a lot more because it was like a total switch up. I went from something that was comfortable and all that to something that was like PT. I was training friends in a park, went into a gym, built a team, and then opened up the studio, you know, from ground one. So I think there was a lot more there because maybe it seemed a bigger risk. But yeah, property, mate, I haven't had anything that like if I listen to yourself, the team, Zinger, Blink, we use the whole team. They're the opinions because I've just seen what you're able to do, not just with yourself, but others.
Other people,
that to me is kind of how I work it.
Yeah, cool. And the last one, you've said it beforehand about the negative cash flow properties, right, that you had beforehand, and you've seen other people do negative cash flow. Out of your portfolio, how does it sit? Like, just curious, other people, like, is it positive, negative, neutral? So
we're just negative at the moment, but we've been refinancing a lot, pulling out the equity. So it's not too bad. And like some of our, you know, we're pulling out more to get these couples settled. There was some different lenders at a higher interest rates. So I think we're like negative 30K a year, but we're holding 6.5 mil
of asset. And your net worth, like each time you put out the equity.
You know what I mean? Like, whereas if we were to buy our own place to move into for 1.52 mil, whatever it was, we'd be more
80 grand a year.
Correct. So like in those kind of aspects, it's and once these interest rates come down, the rents have been going up. I can see it.
2 years of the stuff that we've been buying, what would be your average rental increase per year? Per property, like just on average property, if you had to guess. Like,
if I had to guess, so the last couple of years it has been crazy. Like they've been popping up. I'd say, look, some of them are really low. Like we got the unit in Lakemba. I think that was 220 a week. That's crazy. Now like
500.
Around that point. I think 5 to 550, somewhere around that. So like those ones had come up double of what they were. Maybe around $100 average. Maybe around that point each property. But when you have 17 properties, 15 that's that's right. So I'd say around that mark. They've all come up, like wherever we purchased them, they were all gone up.
Cool. And the last question, do you have a favorite property?
Do you know, I'd say I have a favorite property. They all serve a purpose, I think, but the really good ones that have stood out to me over the last year was the two in Perth. We got a unit for 170 and a unit for 190. They've doubled in like the last year. And they're, you get property, could only imagine all the shit you get with them, but there's always little things you got to fix and all that kind of stuff. These are, stuff like that. It's part of the game. But these have been pretty chill, but they've literally doubled, and the rents actually have gone up pretty high on those. So those would be the two, I would say, that are more the standouts for now. That's cool. So they were units. Under 200 grand. 1 bedroom unit was the 190. And 2 bedroom unit was the 170. Sorry.
So you paid more for the 1 bedder than what you did the 2 bedder. People say to me, 1 bedders, they don't go up in value. I'm like, fuck, just listen to me, right? Just fucking, you know. And that's your favorite property. That's cool to hear.
Those two would be just.
How old would they be too?
I can't remember.
It'd be like 50 years. So they're not new.
They're not new. They're not new at all. But in terms of like they're not the only properties that have gone up, like they've doubled or whatever since the purchase. Even Southport's one. That's definitely really come up. But and that, like, even things like that 1 bedroom, it wasn't that I wasn't sure when you send it through, but I heard things, don't buy 1 bedroom, don't this, you know. But once again, I've seen what you've done with your clients, and I'm like, all right, look, there's a strategy here. It's got to work to leapfrog the next one. And that's what they've done.
It's February, we're recording this. Since December, since Christmas Eve, I've bought 4 properties myself, and they're all 1 bedders, right? It's just strange. It's just by chance that they were 1 bedders, right? It wasn't because I was out targeting 1 bedders. People say, you can't make money. I've got fucking blocks of units, motels, shopping centres, houses, all that. They're the ones that are making the numbers for me. I'm still buying them today in 2025, and it's cool to hear that.
But that helps too. Like when I hear that, if you're buying it, you know what I mean? There's got to be a reason
while I'm doing it.
Why are you doing it?
Yeah. You can't build anything for 170K. You go buy a Ford Ranger Raptor Ute, you're paying $115,000 for a fucking Ford Ute, or you can almost buy a unit in Perth, capital city, in the CBD.
Yeah, and that's like where that one bedder is. It's near the CBD, same with the other one. So it's you just need to get rid of the limiting beliefs but there you go. So I didn't even think of that, but it is. It's the one bedroom that's like one of our best performers.
Yeah, this is interesting to hear. Sometimes I say people think, oh, this one over here or this one over here. My random one, I don't know why. I've got this shop and I rented it out to an ASX listed company. It was the shittest property you could ever buy, and I rented it out on a 20-year lease, and it just performed very well. It pays me $100,000 a year in advance every year for 20 years.
Were they already in there when you purchased it?
No, it was vacant for 20 years.
Oh, so
it was
vacant
an old video
for 20 years?
It was 11 years vacant.
And
I held it for 3 years vacant. So if you hold a property vacant for 3 years, you can't find a tenant, you're screwed.
Yeah.
And it was just by chance, one of my mates put a tenant in there that was ASX listed 200.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And they just paid a year in advance every year, never heard from them. And it's like a 25% yield on the purchase price.
Oh, wow. That's solid.
It's annoying because I can't develop the site and stuff. I could do some cool stuff with it. But yeah, it was a random property I bought and just happened to be a good property.
That's one thing that I've learnt too, is that like our Schofield unit was off the plan, all bred new, looked good, all the bells and whistles.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's not those properties that perform the best at all.
No.
In fact, that was our worst performing property when we sold it.
Yeah.
Like we only made not much of a profit on it. At least we made a profit, but there's so much going up in that area. Looked the best.
Yeah.
But performed the worst from a cash flow perspective and catal
It's like having
growth perspective.
A brand new car as a trader ute, right? You got a sports car, 2-door car. It looks good.
Yeah.
But it's not the practical vehicle
to get there.
You need an Isuzu truck. Go get an Isuzu NPR and drive around that.
Yeah. And that, I think that's been a shift in my mind too, seeing that and actually getting the valuations done and seeing them perform.
Yeah.
And it's like, I see, kind of, it makes sense. Yeah.
That's cool. I could be talking all day with you. I'm excited to do the event and for us to talk about more about your portfolio, more about what you do on a daily basis, and having fun with our community. So if you're not registered yet, I'll make sure the team put the QR code or the how to find it here, and I'll see you next Friday, the 28th of February at the details are on here. So
perfect.
Awesome. Thanks a lot for coming today.
Appreciate it.
I look forward to coming to see you this Friday and next Friday before our event.
Get in shape by 40. Get you jacked.
You want to be jacked. I want to look like 50 Cent, right? Let's go.
Without the bullet scars.
So no bullet holes. Leave my teeth, right? Yeah. Thanks a lot, guys, for tuning in, watching, listening, and spending your time. Have a great week. If you like this video, share it around with your friends and family. Tag everyone on this. Make sure to tune in every Thursday. Google Play, Apple Play, Spotify, and YouTube. Have a great week. Bye for now.
Like Bilal said, man, we're stuck in the matrix. This my advice, don't care if you take it.